Hello, fellow followers. Leviticus. At the mountain they wait in love and terror as holy words pass through them like a sword. Detailed notes on how to remove livers, how to remove the fat from kidneys, and 10 non-stop chapters on how to make a pleasing aroma rise to God from a sacrifice. Who says the Bible is irrelevant to modern life? It's time for the Book of Leviticus. There's a saying that many who set out to read the whole Bible get shipwrecked on the shores of Leviticus. He's got a bit of a reputation for being boring. No, don't switch off, because while I admit it's not an easy read, I'm about to try and convince you that Leviticus is amazing. You see, the people of the ancient Near East in places like Mesopotamia and Egypt believed that the gods were distant and uncaring, far away. You could never be sure that you had offered enough, hence the reason that sacrifices would escalate to sacrificing their children.
Oh, great God, I offer you this fruit. Please send the rains that we need to grow more. Oh, Lord, thank you for hearing our prayers last time. Now I offer you a sheep. Please continue to send your rain. Oh, great God, I'm sorry that I didn't offer you enough last time. I offer you my very child. Please send the rain.
You could never be sure what the gods thought of you, or even if they knew you existed. This is the background to the Book of Leviticus. But the Book of Leviticus starts with the Lord speaking to Moses and saying, "Speak to the Israelites and say to them, when you bring an offering to the Lord." The word offering there is the Hebrew word korim. It means to draw near. This is a God you can draw near to. Unlike all the other understandings of God, this is a God you can relate to, a God you can draw near to. That's the second verse of this apparently boring book. That's a completely revolutionary concept of what God is like. As well as being a God you can draw near to, unlike all the other religions, this is a God where you can know exactly where you stand with him. Oh no, I've just remembered something I did and I feel so guilty. What can I do? Don't worry, there's a sacrifice for that. I hurt someone by accident. It's fine, there's a sacrifice for that. And so it goes on. You see, you can never have to doubt where you stand with this God. The God who draws near provides a way for anyone to deal with their guilt and their worry. Another thing, I do mean anyone. Leviticus talks about the sin of the poor person, the sin of the wealthy person, the sin even of the king. For the first time in history, all people are seen as equal before God. I look down on him because he is middle class. I look up to him because he is upper class. But I look down on him because he is working class. I am middle class. I know my place. But in Leviticus, we're equals. Couldn't the first demonstration of equality be boring? Wait there, I hear you say. Isn't Leviticus that one with all the laws in that we don't like? Most famously, Leviticus 18:22. Do not have sexual relations with a man as one does with a woman. That is detestable. Well, yes, it is that one. So let's take a quick look at the laws, shall we? Unfortunately, most Christians seem to come to Leviticus with the random pick what I like method, which isn't particularly useful. Do not eat any meat with the blood still in it. But I like black pudding, so I'm going to ignore that one. Do not cut your bodies for the dead or put tattoo marks on yourself. I am the Lord. I've got no tattoos. I think I'll keep that one. Yeah, it's not a good method. So how do we decide what is still binding for the Christian? Well, there are three basic opinions. Number one, we split the law into the moral, the civil, and the ceremonial, and we can ignore the civil and the ceremonial and just concentrate on the moral. Number two, the Mosaic law is done away with in the New Testament, and only those laws which are specifically repeated in the New Testament are to be kept. Number three, the Mosaic law should be obeyed except in those commands that are done away with in the New Testament. The best book on this I've come across is 5 Views on Law and Gospel, which is part of the Counterpoint series. Whichever conclusion you reach, please try and be gracious to those who disagree with you, because it's not clear which one is right. Also worth saying that whichever option you take, you normally come up with the same basic understanding. Pretty much all Christians agree on which ones should still stand, with 1 or 2 controversial exceptions, obviously. For example, all Christians would agree that Leviticus 19:18, love your neighbour as yourself, still very much stands, whereas Leviticus 19:19, do not wear clothes made of 2 different materials, that doesn't count. 50% cotton, 50% acrylic. I better go offer a sheep. What is much more important for us is why these laws. And the answer should already be clear. God wants a people he can relate to, a people who he can be in relationship with, a people who, according to the promises he gave to Abraham, are going to fix the world. So he calls them to be moral and holy and separate, and then he tells them how to do it. And one last thing for those people that say, look, I get the sacrifice was normal at the time, but couldn't God have just scrapped the whole system? Couldn't he have provided one final sacrifice to end all sacrifices? Couldn't he have announced in a clear voice, it is finished? Well, yes he could, but we're getting ahead of ourselves, aren't we? God bless, fellow followers.